So this weekend, John Cornyn and I brought 7 senators down to the southern border. I've been to the border many, many times over the past decade, and it is the worst I have ever seen it right now. We are in the midst of the worst illegal immigration in 62 years. This is not an accident. This was the result of political decisions by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to open up the borders. And the result is tragic. First thing we did when we arrived, we went out on a midnight patrol with the Border Patrol. You don't have to hunt for people crossing illegally. Within minutes, we encountered the first group. And it's a steady stream every minute of every hour of every day coming across the border. The second group we encountered was about a dozen, mostly women and children. In that group was 2 7-year-old girls, each of whom was an unaccompanied minor. Their parents weren't there. They had no family members. They were not sisters. They were 2 7-year-old girls all alone with a group of strangers who had been transported by violent drug cartels. The Border Patrol showed us a patch of grass about 100 yards from where we were standing, where just a couple of weeks earlier, 2 other little girls, 5 and 6 years old, had been violently raped. The Border Patrol had to come and provide medical attention to those little girls who faced horrific mistreatment at the hands of the cartels. These cartels are making billions of dollars every month. Every single illegal immigrant who comes across must pay the cartels anywhere between $3,000 and $12,000. When they come across, they're wearing colored wristbands. We saw the wristbands by the hundreds laying by the shore of the river. Each color corresponds to how many thousands of dollars they owe the cartels. So these teenagers arrive in America. The Biden administration ships them to every city in America. And they are in debt to violent drug cartels, thousands of dollars. So you have teenage boys working for the cartels in your city. And if you don't live in the border, you might think, the open border is not my problem. Whatever city in America you live in, there are illegal immigrants in debt, thousands of dollars for the drug cartels, working for the drug cartels in your city and committing crimes. And the boys have it better than the girls. The young girls who come in owing thousands of dollars, many of them are forced into sex slavery, forced into a living nightmare. The Border Patrol agents told us about something this trip that I had never heard of before. It's something they call a rape tree. That the cartels bring immigrants across the border and they violently rape them here in the United States. And then they hang their underwear on the tree as a trophy and as a taunt to law enforcement that you can't do anything to stop us. We met with landowners who showed us photographs of illegal immigrants they find on their farms and ranches dead over and over and over again, abandoned by these violent criminals. Just weeks ago, 53 illegal immigrants died in a tractor trailer in San Antonio, including a child who was 13 years old. Last year, we had over 100,000 overdoses in the United States as fentanyl floods this country, and the Biden body bags keep building up and up and up. We've all seen the misery. I have a question for you. Why hasn't Joe Biden gone to the border? Why hasn't Kamala Harris gone to the Rio Grande Valley? Why haven't most of the Democratic senators bothered to go down and see it? And the answer is you cannot see what is happening there and defend it. It is indefensible. The misery, the suffering, the death. And the reason Joe Biden doesn't go to the border is when he goes, he knows that it will bring the folks in this room. It'll bring reporters. It'll bring TV cameras. And Joe Biden is counting on the corporate media ignoring the death and suffering and misery. I'm here to encourage you, don't ignore it. This is not humane. It's not compassionate. It is cruel. It is vicious. It is evil. And it is deliberate. My final point, yesterday, Mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, held a press conference saying New York City needs help to deal with the massive influx of illegal immigrants. Last weekend, the mayor of D.C. went on national television and said, please stop sending so many illegal immigrants to Washington, D.C. The city can't bear the burden. If bright blue Democratic cities like New York City and Washington, D.C. cannot handle the human consequences and tragedy of Joe Biden's open borders, how do you think South Texas is doing? How do you think Laredo is doing? How do you think McAllen is doing? How do you think Del Rio is doing, or Eagle Pass? This is horrific. It is a crisis. It is man-made. It is political, and it needs to stop. Senator John Ross.